What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today it looks like there is an interesting injury update in relation to a Chicago Bulls player, and it's actually Zach LaVine. Now, Zach LaVine is not necessarily the talk of the town for the Chicago Bulls. It's been a while since we've actually really got to talk about him in a sense of a health perspective. It seems like everybody, when they talk about LaVine, including myself, to be honest, we're talking about potential trade targets, we're talking about salary dump, we're talking about him leaving the Chicago Bulls, but we haven't actually checked in on his health in a while. And ultimately, Zach LaVine released a video about his health, basically a highlight montage of what he's been doing to recover to get back to the NBA. Whether it's for the Bulls or not, we don't necessarily know for sure, but still, it looks like he's on his way back to the NBA next season. We're going to talk about it in this video. Before we get any further, if you liked the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls and I guess this entire injury situation with Zach LaVine. Do you think he can recover? Do you think that the injury he has sustained previously will affect his trade window for the Bulls in this upcoming offseason? And yeah, everything in between. Do you think he'll be a Chicago Bull in this upcoming season? There's a lot to decipher, but for the most part, all you need to do is watch the video to kind of know Zach LaVine is hyping himself up a little bit. He's showing himself knocking down jumpers, going for dunks, he's showing his work ethic, he's sweating, he's doing all the hard work to get back to NBA fitness, which, again, I know many people want to critique Zach LaVine for every single minute detail these days. It's not a bad thing that he's uploading videos of himself showing how hard he is working to get back to the NBA. I don't see anything wrong with that whatsoever. It's also really nice to see that he has a really good family life at the moment. We saw a lot of his kid and his family. That's all fine and good. That's great. And I always like to see stuff like that, especially with Chicago Bulls players. And at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, Zach LaVine is a Chicago Bulls player, and those things are always going to be positive. The only real negative I could take away from this situation is that we can't always rely on montage videos or highlight videos to assess a player's full effectiveness and a player's full health. We have seen training videos in the past, and Bulls fans love the training videos. They absolutely love them, whether it's from the draft prospects, whether it's from, guys like Kobe White dribbling and stuff like that. Bulls fans are in love with those types of videos because they don't get the glimpses that you'd probably want to see when it comes to off-season type of situations. You don't get to see every single training session. You don't get to see every single conversation being had. You don't get to see these specific players work out with each other. And for such a long break that the Bulls have had to endure and continue to endure heading into next season, of course, people start to get a little bit, anxious, looking for the next thing that we could talk about in relation to the Chicago Bulls. That's the draft now. Soon will be the Summer League. And then August, well, who knows what's happening there. That's going to be a ridiculous month. A ridiculously boring month, I should say. Regardless, ultimately, it's not a bad thing for Zach LaVine to kind of show highlight montages and showing all the work that he's been putting in. We know, I don't care what anyone tells me, we know from past players, and pretty much everybody says this about Zach LaVine, he's a ridiculously hard-working player. You might not necessarily see it on the court every game, but when it comes to training and when it comes to getting his off-season work in, everybody says he has the hardest working, regime or I don't know how to say it, working schedule, in a sense, in the NBA. He is one of the hardest. So we know he's going to be a guy that's going to be itching to get back on the court. I guess the real question here is it with the Chicago Bulls? And ultimately, look, Zach LaVine is a player that I will always like. I think that is as simple as it gets. I will always respect Zach LaVine. I like his work ethic, and for a lot of the years when the Bulls were really down bad, struggling, trying to find any glimpse of highlights and entertainment in their game, more times than not it was Zach LaVine that delivered those highlights for us. But again, as long as he is saying he does not want to be a Chicago Bulls player, then ultimately I don't necessarily think it's the right idea, nor would I want a player that doesn't want to be here. So I still think we should pursue the trade. No matter what we get back in return, I still think that's the way to go. I still feel like Zach LaVine has something to offer in this league, and I still feel like if he goes to a different team, he has the potential to shine in that team, and he is a very good threat in the NBA. He's a very good offensive weapon, and again, you're seeing it from the highlights highlights at least. Granted, you can't always trust highlights. He has a lot of offensive game to his repertoire, and it looks like he's getting back to full fitness. So, there, fair play to Zach LaVine on working hard. Don't really have a problem with that. We just have to wait and see what the future holds for LaVine. But that seems to be the injury update. There's not too much else to really say about the situation. Zach LaVine is getting back to full health. Look, if he does play for the Chicago Bulls, you know, if he, for whatever reason, says he wants to stay or the Bulls don't get rid of him, I do want to see him back for the first game of the season if we make changes around this Bulls team just to see how things go. But I know that's not going to be the popular opinion, and I know that's not going to be an opinion that will resonate with many Bulls fans. But also, I'm at the mindset now that he needs to go. This is just what happens if he stays. The last thing I want is to see the Bulls keep him home and not play him until his contract ends. I've seen comments about out there about that situation. There is no chance I want that to happen. If Zach LaVine is going to stay here, he better be playing for the Bulls if he stays here. But ultimately, I think the vast majority of people do want him to get traded. It's not because they hate Zach LaVine. It's not because they think he's not a good player or anything like that. It's just simply because he's the one that really wanted to move on first. And then Bulls fans retaliate from that, and they want him to go. And now the Bulls organization looks like they want him to go. So, again, I think it's going to happen. But whether it's for the Bulls or for whatever team he plays for, I wish him nothing but the best. And hopefully that recovery is going to continue to get better. You know, we have a couple of players now that are on the recovery list for the Bulls. Zach LaVine is one of them. So we'll wait and see. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Drop a like and a follow. And or subscribe if you are new. Yeah, a Zach LaVine injury update. Didn't think I'd be talking about that today, but, you know, when videos come out, and it was a good video. I really enjoyed it. Ultimately, I kind of wanted to talk about it today. So that being said, have a wonderful and safe day. I will see you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.